Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope all of you are doing well, and today I've got quite the spread of make your own cards here because I wanted to share with you the design philosophy I have with the artwork in the make your own card game. I know you can see here there's a wide variety of characters and situations depicted in my cards. You've got everything from dragons to superheroes to realistic animals to weird dreamscapes, all kinds of stuff. And you might think that it doesn't quite all go together, but rest assured there is some kind of method to the madness here that I've got going on, and it really all boils down to one word, and that's fun. Like with any game, a trading card game like the Make Your Own Card game here is designed to be a fun experience that you would have with your friends, and part of that fun is seeing cool characters be brought out onto the table as you're playing. And I really wanted to bring that sense of fun here with my art, whether it's by using cool poses or by using bright, bold colors. And that fun can manifest itself in a couple of different ways. You got like lighthearted characters like Hilda Honey Queen here, depicting her smile. You've got funny scenes like Here Comes the Swarm, where Johnny is running from a bunch of angry bees trying to chase him. Sometimes it depicts itself in moments of triumph, like Overdrive Man, who's celebrating after having defeated this dragon here. And speaking of dragons, there's also kind of moments that are playful, like you got the young white dragon here playing in the snow. And kind of the reason for all this variety in the different kinds of characters and situations, it dates back to when my brother and I were first making this game over 20 years ago. Back then, we weren't really so concerned with having a unifying theme, or we were concerned with creating detailed lore for our game. We were just more focused on designing cool characters, cool situations that we wanted to see on cards, and that we would enjoy putting out there on the table as we were playing our games. And that's a philosophy I still carry to this day with my games. Games are meant to be fun, and fun should be the focus in every aspect, and that includes the art. I know I said that already, but it bears repeating. And kind of tying into that, you'll notice I don't have a ton of different edgier or darker cards. I do have a few here. You've got the Necromancer and Sheldagoth here, as well as this grim scene depicted in Apocalypse Now, but those are just some of the exceptions. I think having those gives it a nice contrast between all the lighthearted stuff you see in the game. And sometimes people have fun with those sorts of grim characters. But it's not really something I want to make the focus of my game, because after all, games are sometimes meant to be an escape from everyday life, and everyday life, as we know, can kind of be a bit depressing at times. And I want to keep the art as lighthearted as possible, with maybe a couple of more edgier characters here and there. I think that's kind of what sets my game apart from some of the other games in the HTCG scene. It's a trend I've noticed in a bunch of HTCG creators that I've seen in what little time I've spent in the community, is that quite a few creators tend to gravitate towards more edgier art, and that's just not the style I kind of like. And another thing, too, when it comes to my characters, is I try to keep the details to a minimum. And part of the reason has to do with the size of the card frame. I don't have a ton of space for the art, so I want to make sure whatever art I put in there makes a nice impact when you take a look at it. So for Raylan here, his character design's very simple, and he has a very simple background to match. And it definitely helps make him stand out and makes him the focus of the card, and not so much where he is. Sometimes the background is the focus of the card, like Wander the Dreamscape here. It's more about the wild things going on in the background and not so much the characters being depicted. And even though there's quite a few variety in the characters and situations, there are a couple of things that unify the whole experience together. And one of those has to do with recurring characters. Take Matt here, for example. he's a character that I've drawn across multiple different cards. In fact, as you can see, I've drawn him in a wide variety of situations, doing a variety of different things across 10 different cards that I've made for the game. And he's not the only one. I've also done this with cards like Scion here, who appears in 4 of my game's cards, or with Enoch, who appears in 2 cards. Sometimes I get characters that appear on different cards and put them together on one card. There's definitely a lot of things you can do, and when you're making your own card games, if you have a lot of characters you like to draw, that's a pretty good stable of ideas you can have, where you can depict those characters doing all kinds of different things. And even if you draw a character as sort of a background piece for one card, that could be something you could use to put in another card. Like, for example, on Apocalypse Now, which I showed earlier, you have this little guy in the center, and to flesh it out, I could potentially make a card featuring him as the main focus. You've also got Recon, which has these soldiers, and I could make those individual soldiers into cards. Or potentially this guy at the center of Tempting Offer, I could make him into a character card if I really wanted to. There's definitely a lot of possibilities there. And finally, I wanted to mention the text box that also kind of unifies them together. You notice it's kind of plain compared to like the art. And I like to think of that as more orderly. It kind of brings order to all the chaos that's going on with the game. And you've even got like the numbers being more bold to draw your attention to them, because the cost and the combat stats being the most important, and even the abilities being written in red also draws your eye to them. And that about does it for my discussion on the art direction for the Make Your Own Card game. Thank you very much for watching this. This was a little bit different than my usual videos, but I hope you learned a little something from this that you can potentially take into your own card games that you design. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and comment below what you thought of the video and you want to see more looks into design like this in the future. And definitely subscribe if you never want to miss any other videos I upload. I'll see you in whatever video I upload next, and take care.